Hello. I'm grateful to be here speaking on my passion of this non-duality subject. I really just want a place to express freely and connect with others, apparently. Only speaking here about my experience, no matter what I say or how I word it. Um, I'm not attempting to be a teacher. Um, Please take everything I say with a grain of salt and feel free to let me know what you think. Um, don't believe anything I say. This is hard to speak about, the truth can't really be spoken. So, 6 years ago, when this journey began for me, um, I was coming out of, agnosticism. I felt like there was synchronicity, and uh, I realized that enlightenment was a thing, and that it was possible to see it clearly. Well, I thought it was an attainment back then, but as we have been told many times, this is not attainable, and it's not. You can't attain something that you already have. um, so the honeymoon phase began, and it lasted from 6 years. 6 months to a year about. And it was beautiful. And I mean, compared to the immense suffering um, before I started this journey, it was a million pounds lifted off my shoulders. I had anxiety and depression for most of my life up until that point, and I felt all the synchronicity and the joy and the bliss and the excitement about starting to meditate. And um, you may know what I'm talking about. It's just wondrous, and you think it's all downhill from there. And then some circumstances happened that triggered me um, in my life, and I became contracted again. Now, this was nowhere near the contraction that was here before the journey, but it was there, and it was almost like very, very obvious. So beliefs fall away on the path. Here and there along the way, things fall away. Um, Things that would have triggered you before. But always, whatever's left, all the conditioning and all the beliefs that remain, those become more obvious than they were before. So it's like, even though there's less suffering, it's still the same because what's left is more obvious. Um, if that makes sense. So the circumstances at that time triggered depression, anxiety, and contraction. And I thought something was wrong. I had done something wrong. It was something I did, something I wasn't seeing clearly. Fallen from grace. And I delved deeper into research, more information, got into non-duality, started watching teachers that were pointing more directly, and went through a nihilism stage, trying to force myself to see that there was no one here, take it on as a conceptual belief. And then the joy would come back in. And it would be great for a little while. And then something else would happen, usually something to do with other people, because I had really bad social anxiety for many years. Um, and it would just happen over and over again, like a wave going in and out, in and out. And I would think of it as like, okay, I was starting to see the pattern, and saw that I felt like I was taking 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, or and this happened for years, beating myself up every time I would get in the mind, and it was just like a mind storm. You know, why? Why do I keep doing this? Um, I thought I've shed this. I thought I purged this. I looked into this so many times, and it just would always happen. It would always come back, the contraction. And I would fall for it every time. So I found a lovely teacher that, um, I guess you could say, triggered some new clear seeing enough to start to get outside of that meing and being and see it, from a different perspective. I was spiritually bypassing. So hitting the books hard on non-duality, I thought I could take the masculine route and force myself to realize. And when emotions and triggers would come up, I would say, well, there's no one here. So, and I would just push it away and look away. The shame, the unworthiness, and all that, the fear of other people. I would say, well, who is here to feel that? And I thought I could go around it. I thought if I could just wake up, if I could just wake up, this will stop happening. This up and down, when I wake up, this will go away, I thought. And I started listening to Angelo DeLulo from Simply Always Awake. And I realized that I was spiritually bypassing, and that I didn't want to look at the shame. I didn't want to feel it, and the fear. And you, you know, on the apparent journey to seeing clearly what already is. It's beneficial to look at that stuff. If you can't look at it and give it a place to be, you know, then it's like you're denying what is. You're not. You're not holding space for the apparent individual. And you certainly can't force no self realization. Yeah, you can drive yourself pretty batty trying to force it. And it does make sense conceptually. And you can think that you know it on some level. So the things that trigger us don't go away, and the thoughts don't go away, and the emotions don't go away. They're just seen for what they are. They're they're seen as innocent. Compassion naturally arises when it's seen clearly for what it is and given a place to be. It loses its power when it's allowed. And it's tricky because you can't really allow it. You can't read a book about letting go and decide you're going to let go and then let go. That's not how it works. That's why this journey can be so maddening, because there is no one to do those things. Truly letting go is beyond letting go. It's not what the mind can conceive of what letting go is. You see what the triggers are. You see that it's nothing but a thought that's believed in, a habitual pattern, automatic, automaton. And when you see that, something relaxes deep within you, and it makes it all okay. It makes it all allowed. It's so ironic how we strive and try, and it could be seen that all this striving and trying and seeking, it could be the last thing that's just distracting us from seeing. It's almost like if we can discover grace and have enough grace to trust deeply, or as much as we can. Trust carried me and comforted me on this journey. I would say, I don't know. I don't know how to do this. And then I would take a deep breath and realize that, these beautiful teachers that I'm listening to, they say that there's nothing you can do to force this seeing. And I would remember all the beautiful synchronicities, and something in me would trust the mystery. You can call it whatever you want, God. Something is so intelligent, and I trusted that mystery to carry me. Sometimes I couldn't find that trust, but it deepened along the way. And then I looked back and saw that was really the best thing I did, was trust myself, trust exactly what's popping up right now, whatever feeling, thought, drama. These triggers seem to pop up for a reason. They're giving us an opportunity to look just simply at what is, and say, and then you either reject it, try to push it away, or grasp it, depending on if it's an insight or a trigger. And it's terrifying. It can be terrifying to contemplate that nothing is in our control. But it can be very comforting too, in a way. Unconditional love. I used to romanticize about it in my head and think about how I wanted to be like Jesus, in a way, or a sage or whatever. And I would attempt to mimic these traits of the saints. Oh, I want to be unconditional loving. I'll do that. I'll just do that. And it's innocent, it's beautiful, and of course we can see why somebody would do that. But things like equanimity and unconditional love can't be forced. In my humble opinion, unconditional love isn't possible without seeing that there's no one here. Because when you realize that no one's here, then nothing's personal. And if nothing's personal, then everything is fully okay, actually. No matter what. No matter if you feel like dog shit and you feel completely contracted. Something in you knows that this is this. This too is this. And whatever this is, in my opinion, I'm not deifying what is, but it is intelligent. I'm open to being wrong about that, but it seems intelligent, not in a deific way, but it's leading us where we've always been. Lifting the veil. When the veil is lifted, you don't go anywhere. It's just a very thin veneer that's lifted. The fog lifts. To be out of our own way is what we want, is what we strive for. Psychological death. So ironically, there's no one to force that to happen. As far as seeing it goes. There's one more thing I want to add about unconditional love. You know, there's two ways of speaking about it. We can speak about it and whether or not we can perceive it, if we have seen it clearly. But the fact is that we all have it, we are it, we embody it, and there's nothing that's not unconditional love. I just wanted to clarify that. It's ironic that when the sense of self falls away, we have an opportunity to become deeply human. We arrive back where we started, in a way. Wherever you go, there you are.